EA Sports coverage of the NFL brings us to the Lone Star State and the very mammoth AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Set for football now at AT&T Stadium. Brandon Aubrey has the honors, and we are underway here in Arlington. And that's not going to be returned, as so many kicking teams elect to do. This is past the landing zone, and we'll start at the 30. So 1st and 10 now from the 30. First carry for DeAndre Swift. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. Just like that, it's a gain of 12 and a first down on their first play. To throw, Williams. Now a quick throw there, but it's going to be incomplete. Johnson the intended target, and now it's 2nd down. Looking to throw is Williams. Eluding the pressure right. Nothing open downfield, so he'll throw it away.
One thing you always worry about when he breaks the pocket is he going to take off with it? That time, the pressure was starting to close in, and he's just got to throw this one away.
So back-to-back incompletions, and that has him staring at a 3rd and 10. Here's Williams. Pass taken in by his big tight end. Now he's loose down the left sideline. Touchdown, Chicago! Dalton Kincaid, 58 yards. And the Bears are on the board here first in the season opener. Excellent start there. First drive of the season. Big-time success putting it in the end zone.
And remember, that was done without any real map of how to do it. In other words, the deeper you get into the season, you get game film to work off of, tendencies to work off of. The first drive of the season, things can be entirely different than what you've seen in the past. It's a really good job of execution by them.
Now, after the touchdown, here's Santos to kick this one away. And not willing to risk a return. This ball's going to come out to the 30-yard line. On the ground, it's Brooks to start the drive. And he's got a good gain of 7 up to the 37.
A nice run here early on. It doesn't take a great play caller to realize you want to establish a guy of his caliber with runs like this early because they'll pay dividends as the game progresses.
Operating from the gun, Green looking for White on the deep ball. And that will be incomplete. Trying to dial up the long one way out there, but it'll be 3rd down.
Well, they've got man coverage on the outside, and my scouting report on these DBs tells me that they love to take matters in their own hands. They want man coverage, not zone. And there was good coverage there that forced the incompletion.
So the incomplete pass on the last play, and that leads us to a 3rd and 3. They'll try and run here with Brooks. And he slips up past the 45 before being tackled. Give him 10 there. Good enough for a Cowboy first down.
Plenty of things to talk about here, partner. But to me, their defense gave up a touchdown on the first drive. How about how they're responding, coming back? That's a big 3rd down pickup to keep their drive alive.
Back to throw now on first down. That's going to be caught by Pickens. Still going. And this will leave him a yard short. Nice pickup of 9 yards on first down. But there you go, Charles, the first completed pass of his young career.
and we expect it not to be his last. Very good to get the first one out of the way, though, as he begins his career.
Now Green off the play fake. And it's incomplete. Took a shot, couldn't connect.
It's always tough trying to keep your guy upright when he's trying to throw the football. When you're dealing with those big, bad guys on the defensive front, it's even tougher. And this time, those guys on the opposite side won the battle, getting to the quarterback and knocking him into an incompletion.
That is caught, and he'll be taken down, but he does have first down yardage. Well, they kept it simple there, CD, only needing the short gain to move the chains, so they didn't want to go with a deep throw. They just go with that safer, shorter throw and able to convert.
Nothing wrong with that at all, partner. Check the box, right? Make sure you pick up the first down. Offense is getting established. You're moving the ball. You're not turning it over. Check, check, check. They like what they're doing early in the game.
Officially no gain on the play, and it's second down. Operating from the gun, Green. He finds his rookie wideout from Tennessee. And he's going to have another first down as the tackle's made here at the Bears 30. It's a gain of 12, and the Cowboys pick up the first. But give the rookie another one on this opening drive and a first down with it. A nice start, Charles, for the first-year passer. He's come out, made a few plays, nice plays to begin this contest.
He certainly has, and if he finishes off this drive with a touchdown pass, I vote we don't call him rookie anymore. We'll move him right to veteran and continue from there.
Just a yard on the first down carry, so it's 2nd and 9. Back to throw. Green. He'll find Lamb. That's complete. It'll go down as a gain of 6. And now that sets up 3rd and 2. A nice throw right there, and these fans getting their first look at their QB1 of the future. I'd imagine it's got to be a big plus for him to get his first start here in front of that home crowd.
I know there's a school of thought about getting your first start away from home so you don't have the extra pressure of that crowd behind you. But I say ride the wave, embrace it. Go ahead and play to that level, and I think it's going to benefit him in the long run.
And he will have a Cowboys first down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion. This is shaping up to be a really nice-looking drive to get the season underway here.
And how long do you think that they actually have been plotting this drive? I'm talking about the coaching staff, right? They've been thinking about this for a while now, and I think they're executing it even better than what they expected.
8 yards on the pickup, and now they'll have some options on 2nd and short. Now a shotgun snap as they'll look to throw. And he fires one incomplete. That's already the 3rd time they've looked his way on this opening drive. He's caught one of the 3.
That doesn't mean they won't continue to go in that direction. It feels like they think they've got something good going there, and they think those numbers are going to increase.
After the incompletion, here now, 3rd and 2. On 3rd down, they go with Brooks. And that one going nowhere from the start as he's met in the backfield and goes backwards. The defense stiffens to force 4th down following that first down gain of 8. They went with the run-pass option, and I don't know if the option really mattered there because the defense was ready.
So many times you put the defense at a disadvantage because you have those multiple options, but when they read their keys and play it correctly, sometimes the result goes in their favor.
And it's incomplete. They cannot convert, and they turn it over. An incompletion there on 4th and goal from the 3. And the Chicago defense able to come up with a goal line stand. At the line, prepping for their next drive, the Bears offense. They were successful last time finding the end zone on their opening drive of the season. And they'll get another shot here with a 1st and 10. And he's taken down, but not before reaching the 20. On 1st and 10, it's Swift. And he is going to be stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage. He'll lose a yard there, and it's 2nd and 11.
It's a tough one right there. He ran right into the teeth of the blitz as the linebacker was freed up in order to stuff that one for a loss. I think quarterbacks got to see that. Got to find a way to audible into something a little more advantageous.
And he'll be out of bounds at the 25-yard line. And that's good for a gain of 6, and it brings up 3rd and 5 now.
But that's what you're looking for when you're wanting to throw the ball downfield. You want one of those guys who can play out on the perimeter, can play out wide, who can not only get open, but when they're covered, can uncover themselves downfield and create catches.
Oh, he's got some breathing room. And he's going to be out of bounds right at midfield. A really nice gain of 25 yards. Had the offense humming on the first drive. Not much has changed here on drive number 2.
No, and I think a lot of times confidence just really kicks in for a team. They may have been confident going into the game, but once you prove it on a drive, it's hard to get out of that mindset, isn't it? And look, let's face it, we can always lock in on the skill position, guys. But those big fellas up front, they're really making this offense go early in the game.
From the midfield stripe, they'll look to throw. And he will go down. A Cowboys sack. Damone Clark fought his way through and buried him behind the line.
Okay, I'm not sure you could actually draw a better pass rush than that one right there. Nowhere to go outside. He had to keep backing up and backing up and backing up. Eventually dropped for a huge loss.
Well, that'll be incomplete. Well, he took a shot as he let that go. And it's going to bring up a 3rd down.
Well, partner, guaranteed they approach this play with the idea of making up ground to make 3rd down manageable. Unfortunately, with that incompletion, right back where they started on the last snap. Now they need a big 3rd down play in order to pick up the yardage needed.
Now on 3rd and long, they'll look to throw. And that is incomplete.
I like what they tried to do there, tried to hit him with something quick, get the ball in his hands, and hope he could make some yards after the catch and pick up a 1st down. Weren't able to do so on that play.
So they're forced to punt on 4th as this one's away. On the return, it's White. And he is out of bounds right around the 34. A nice job getting free on the return for 13 yards. And the Cowboys will take over the football with a 1st and 10. The Dallas offense here set to begin the drive. They've got some stuff to build on from that last drive because they moved the football, CD, and then they tried to go for it on 4th down, didn't convert, probably left a bitter taste in their mouths.
I would say so, and I think that they go out in this series determined for that not to happen again. In fact, they don't even want to get to a 4th down opportunity. They just want to make sure they get it done within the parameters that they've set for themselves. Run their offense, get it into the end zone. Yeah, I think a little bit of determination and a dash of anger.
And they need to work to at least get some of this yardage back after the sack. 2nd and 19. In motion, the tight end. Looking to throw. Green. This ball taken in here by Brooks. And he's upended at the 33, following a good pickup of 8.
I wonder what was going through his mind when he got the play call. He just got sacked on the previous play. He knows they're coming after him again. A little bit of guts to stand in there, take the hit, and successfully complete the screen pass. Really well done.
To throw is Green from the gun on 3rd down. Able to find the open man. That's complete. And he will have a Cowboys 1st down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion. A nice completion there for the 1st down. And, Charles, you think about the quarterbacks of recent vintage that have been thrust into action week 1. It's no guarantee of future success, but we sure have seen some good ones.
We certainly have, partner. How about Joe Burrow with the Bengals in 2020? He was excellent. Kyler Murray with the Cardinals. The best part about his game, has his team right on the brink of the playoffs. And Deshaun Watson has won division titles after having started from day 1.
So a step in the wrong direction. Now they'll look to make amends on 2nd and 14. Back to throw. Green. In trouble, and he's taken down. Kevin Byard, the Middle Tennessee Blue Raider, gets the sack.
Well, that's the 2nd time he's been sacked so far in the 1st half. And if they have designs on having a big year, on going anywhere, they've got to find a way to keep him upright so he can throw the football.
From the gun on 3rd down. Green. He'll fire deep downfield for Lamb. That's caught inside the 20. Touchdown, Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb, 62 yards. And the Cowboys are an extra point away from evening this one up. Aubrey good with a PAT, and we are tied at 7. So all even at 7 now as they kick it away. And no chance to see a return on the dynamic kickoff. They'll move this out to the 30-yard line. The Bears offense ready to go for their next drive. As we eat closer and closer to intermission, Charles, remember last time out they punted. They would love to. Now a loose football. Coleman lost it. It's picked up by the Cowboys. And his crew will take over with a football at the 35-yard line.
We have seen this before, and we know coaches preach about this and work on it all the time. Catch the ball. You know there's going to be some traffic somewhere. They've got to put it away and secure it as they try and get downfield.
And that is incomplete. The coverage a little too good there, and it's second down.
As his old brain remembers, when I see 5 wide receivers on the field as a defender, I know the ball's coming out hot. They expected it and got there and popped it free.
Even with the good footwork, he'll be stopped just inside the 35. And that one was relatively easy to see. I noticed that from up here.
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot, does it? Sometimes you get multiples. What I always love on these offsides is when each side points at the other. Hey, you did it. No, you did it. They deciphered that one correctly.
And a dangerous throw there as that's knocked down and incomplete.
And that's a nice job there because you've got to play the ball, not the man when in coverage. That'll keep you away from a lot of needless penalties, and he's able to knock that one away.
Out of the gun now on third down. And he will not be able to hang on through the contact. It's incomplete. The coverage strong, and now it's fourth down. And this will be off the right upright, but he banks it in. A high degree of difficulty there, but he gets it to go. And they take the lead here now at 10-7. So after the made field goal, back out is Aubrey to kick this away. And no run back here. That's going to be a touchback, and we'll bring it out to the 30-yard line. At the line, prepping for their next drive, the Bears offense. And last time they coughed it up, led to a field goal. They're fortunate that it only led to a field goal, but still, they're not happy about it.
Could you sense the relief, though, when they only gave up the field goal? And they were able to trot back out on the field and start this drive. A little more pep in their step because they didn't cost their team a touchdown. But they know they've got to do it a lot better than they did on the last possession.
The coach will just be relieved, though, if they recoup with a score here, right?
I think the coach would be ecstatic to see them pick themselves back up and now take it downfield, punching the end zone without turning it over.
He's tackled a yard short of the marker. Good gain of 9 on first down. From the shotgun, a throw for Williams. He's going to flip that out to the flat. It's complete. He winds up giving a yard back there, and now it's 3rd and 2.
I really like the angles that the tacklers came from on that play. They secured inside, took away the cutback. The sideline's there, so he can only go so far outside. And they were able to close in and tackle him for a loss.
Yeah, they used your boy over there, the 12th man. Sammy Sideline, right?
Sammy Sideline. You know something? He tackles pretty well, too.
He's tougher than an airport steak. And he's going to have another first down here as the tackle's made at the Cowboys' 26. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. 10-7, our score. Excellent play there on third down. Give him 25 yards. To throw, it's Williams. He's able to get it to Coleman. And he gets it inside the 10 to the 9. That's over 40 yards of movement with those last 2 plays.
Just picking up yardage in bunches here these last few plays. They have moved right down the field, and just like that, they're going to be set up with a 1st and goal.
Here's Swift. And he was able to shed 1 tackle but could not get away from there. Now the Cowboys going to burn the first of their timeouts as they'll talk things over prior to this upcoming 2nd down play. To the air, Williams. Pass incomplete.
They're putting together a drive here in the final minutes of the half, but the coverage has been tight all game long, and they certainly want to keep them off the scoreboard here.
A big play if you think about it right now in this season opener. It's 3rd and goal. They'll look to throw for it with Williams. And that is caught. Touchdown, Bears. From 8 yards out, and the Bears have retaken the lead. Well, that's about as quick of a passing touchdown as you'll ever see right there.
Everyone has a section in their playbook called the quick game. That was a super quick game. Out of the hands of the thrower, bam, right to the receiver, successfully for a touchdown.
How in-depth is that quick game part of the playbook?
It's pretty in-depth because people want the ball in the hands of the quarterback into the playmaker's hands downfield as fast as possible. There are a lot of plays, a lot of options involved with that.
Now, after the touchdown, here's Santos to kick this one away. He will return this from deep in the end zone. Now a crease here as he's past the 30. And he's going to be out of bounds across the 50. Great return.
Partner, when I was in college, we used to have these things called game maxims that we did before every game. One of them said, press the kicking game. For here's where the breaks are made, is the area of hidden yardage. How about that return? Flipping the field, taking it past the 50, and getting things set up to start the series.
Here's 2nd and 3. Operating from the gun, Green. Escaping the pressure right. And he is out of bounds inside the 30. Give him 10 that time, escaping the danger, running with it, and picking up a first down. Looking to throw. Green. It's grabbed over the middle by White. And he's brought down, but not before he reaches the 8-yard line. The Cowboys going to use their 2nd timeout now, as they'll stop it with a little over 30 seconds to go in the first half of play. Now they'll throw here out of the gun. Touchdown, Cowboys! CeeDee Lamb halfway to 100 now with career touchdown number 50. And the Cowboys will take the lead here in the final minute of the first half. Now the extra point up and good by Aubrey. And it's now 17-14. So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. And we will not have a return. They'll bring this to the 30. The Bears offense ready to go for their next drive. And with time quickly fading here in the second quarter, not sure how aggressively, offensively they want to play this.
I think we'll find out just how much they trust it.
Oh, and a bad throw there. It's intercepted. And he's given his guys a shot for late points as they will take over in range for a field goal or maybe more. An unfortunate sequence there, trying to get points before intermission, but now the interception, and their opponents have a chance to possibly pad their lead.
Yeah, they had an opportunity there, and they weren't able to capitalize on it, and that's something that could come back and haunt them later. They're begging their defense now to keep them from scoring before the half ends.
Give them a couple on the scramble. It's 2nd down. The Cowboys signal for their 3rd and final timeout, as they'll stop it with 13 seconds to play in half number 1. Here's 2nd and 8. Left side to Lamb. And he'll be out of bounds about a half to a full yard shy of the 5. Sets him up nicely. 1st and goal. It was a pickup of 14. Back to throw. Green. And this is caught for a Cowboy touchdown. George Pickens in the final seconds of the first half. And the Cowboys will extend their lead here just before halftime. Aubrey good with a PAT. And his guys will take a 10-point lead. 4 seconds, all that remain here this first half as the kick gets away. And no run back forthcoming, so this will come out to the 30. At the line, prepping for their next drive, the Bears offense. And with only 4 seconds on the clock, time likely for just one snap of the football. And he's going to be taken down here as that will lead us to the end of the first half of play. So 2 quarters down, 2 remain. Charles and I return after the break. Welcome back. Charles and I settled into the booth, ready for quarter number 3. We'll see if week 1 fatigue becomes any kind of a factor as we are back underway in the second half. Well, from deep in the end zone, he's going to bring this out. And he probably wishes he would have sat on that one. Instead, he's only able to get this up beyond the 15-yard line. About set for this next drive by the Cowboys offense. As this offense takes the field to begin the opening drive of the second half, Charles, remember in that first half, good through the air and really all around an outstanding offensive performance.
Absolutely. They reached the end zone several times. The passing game working awfully well, and most importantly, partner,
yeah, they went to the tunnel with a lead. They come back out with that lead.
Absolutely. NFL coaches, we know they're perfectionists in a lot of ways, but they had to like what they saw in that first half.
Throw left side complete. That's White. And he's going to get a solid gain of 9 before being brought down. Second and right at a yard. From the 29, here's second down at a yard. Looking to throw. Green. Another catch by White. Back-to-back plays. And he's going to have another first down as the tackle's made here at the Bears 19. A gain of 10 as they look to add on to this 10-point lead. Whatever the discussions were at halftime to try to slow down this offense, it has not worked to this point.
Yeah, I have a vision right now of everything that was discussed at the half just being torn in shreds or being erased off of the Microsoft Surface tablets because none of it is working. They are really locked in on offense. As usual, the hallmark of a good run defense, linebackers making plays near the line of scrimmage. Absolutely nowhere to run there.
Now a second and 10. Operating from the gun, Green. And this is incomplete. They had the incomplete pass on second down. Now they need a big play here. 3rd and 10. Back to throw. Green. Nowhere to turn this time, and he goes down. Sacked back at the 29. It's a loss of 10 on the sack, and it leads to 4th. And this will split the uprights. It's right down the middle, and that will extend their lead even further. Well, they picked up right where they left off in the first half. First drive after the break, they come away with 3 and increase that lead.
Yeah, and you just want to keep building on that lead, don't you? Whether 6 points or 3 points, take everything you can get. Keep maneuvering, keep adding to it, keep making it difficult for them to come back.
The Bears offense ready to go for their next drive. And their deficit a little wider now than it was at halftime following the field goal a moment ago.
But the goal is still the same because you know they want to come out, establish a rhythm in the second half, and get going. Make no mistake about it, though. Kicking field goals, not in their game plan. They need to get the ball in the end zone.
Throwing is Williams. Flushed out right. And the Cowboys' pressure gets there this time for the sack. It's a loss of a yard, so they'll wind up crediting him with a sack, and it brings up 3rd down. This offense in desperate need of a conversion as they come up on third down. Looking to throw. Williams escapes the sack. Flush to his right. Now throw on the run, but that's going to be incomplete.
Well, defensively, they haven't let him just sit in the pocket and get comfortable, and that's opposite a lot of game plans in today's NFL. Ordinarily, you're trying to keep the quarterback hemmed in. In this case, they brought the heat, and if he flushes out, they're fine with that, and they force another incompletion.
It'll be 37 yards there on the punt, and out will come the offense as they take over. The Dallas offense here set to begin the drive. And they're not going to play this conservative, I don't think. They had the field goal last time, and they're up, but they're looking to put a drive in the end zone.
Oh, I agree with you totally. No one goes out on the field and says, all right, let's just settle for 3, except in certain situations, trying to ice a game, that sort of deal. Most of the time, it's end zone, and that's what you're thinking, and I believe that's exactly what they're thinking as they begin this one.
Yeah, no quarterback ever goes out there saying, hey, let's get 3, right?
Not one that I've ever met.
Back to throw. Green. Oh, a first mistake for him in the ball game as it's intercepted. Tyreek Stevenson picks it off. And his guys are going to get the football at the 37-yard line. That's not one that he's going to want to remember, but he had to get it out of the way at some point, his first career interception.
And if he's the guy that they think he is, he's not laughing it off, but he's also not going to let it affect him as the game proceeds. He's going to go back out there, still be the same confident kid, the reason that they drafted him, and go out and play.
And he gets it down a yard or 2 shy of the 30 before he's out of bounds. So the completion good for 7 there, and it'll be second down. From the gun, here's Williams. To the right side here, caught by Kincaid. And he'll be out of bounds just inside the 25-yard line. 7 yards there and a first down. On play action, here's Williams. And they will not get the connection there. It's incomplete.
No receivers open downfield, so instead of forcing the ball to the sideline, he's going to throw this one down to Fort Worth. He'd rather have the incompletion than the turnover.
Williams going to look to throw again. And that'll fall incomplete. He was hit just as he let that go. And now it's third down.
One of the great coaches said football is really a simple game. Rush theirs, protect yours. And he's talking about those guys throwing the football. In this situation, the rush won, hitting the quarterback and forcing him into an incompletion.
Williams from the gun on third down, eluding the pressure right. He had a man open, but he missed him, and it's incomplete.
Well, how about the coverage we just saw him break out on third down? Dime defense, blanketed the field with extra defensive backs and speed, unable to find an open hole to complete that pass.
Santos' kick is up and through, and that gets him back within 10. Well, the 3 points certainly helps, but you feel like, Charles, at this stage of the game, when you force those turnovers, you need to start converting them into touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised myself because I thought in this situation, they were thinking end zone or bust. Now they got to rely on their defense to get the ball back again for another opportunity to get 6 points.
About set for this next drive by the Cowboys offense. The last drive for this offense, Charles, you remember it ended in one play, that quick interception, but they do still have the lead as they start this drive here.
And that's something to focus on for them as well, because it's not quite no harm, no foul, but the interception, hey, shake it off, move on. Hasn't cost your team the lead, and now it's time to rebound, and the quarterback and his teammates, they can add to the lead with a good drive here.
And he'll get to the 29-yard line, brought down there. They'll wind up with positive yardage. It's a gain of 3, but now it's third down. Looking to throw. Green. Work in the middle of the field, and he's got a man complete. And he will have a Cowboys first down as they're able to get the third down conversion. Altogether, a pretty shaky start to the year for this defense as they defend another 1st and 10. Up the middle with Brooks here. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. 2 yards the loss, 2nd and 12.
I'll tell you what, this defense hasn't played its best, but they're still right in this football game. And if they keep making plays just like that, they're going to give their offense a chance.
Here we go on 2nd and 12. Escaping the pressure right. And a big loss here as he's taken down. Multiple defenders getting to him there for a huge loss.
This is a little hard for me to compute because I'm watching sack after sack happen, but somehow they're still behind in the game. I would expect all of this defensive pressure to translate to them taking a lead, and thus far, it hasn't happened. Time's winding down. They don't want to waste this type of performance from these ace pass rushers.
And he's able to take this one up to the 35-yard line. They do get 10 back, but still a ways to go on 4th. Out now comes the Cowboys punter. And the way this offense has moved the ball, he hasn't been needed till here in the 3rd. We are through 3 quarters here on NFL Kickoff Weekend. We'll return with more after this. This is the NFL, and it's on EA Sports. At the line, prepping for their next drive, the Bears offense. Their defense was able to force the punt. That's the good news. But this is still a 2-score game, and they need points on this drive and in a relatively quick manner. And he'll get this up to the 30-yard line. A gain of 11 to kick off the drive, and it's a quick 1st down.
This possession means so much for them. They've got to focus on this drive and find a way to make this a one-possession game.
Yes.
Got to get a score.
Yeah, so good with a field goal. Don't necessarily need a touchdown. And this will be incomplete. Physical play on the football there, and it's 2nd down.
Even without a ton of pressure in his face, it just shows how difficult it is to pick apart his own defense. Those guys are sitting back, and they're not playing receivers as much as they're playing the eyes of the quarterback and when he delivers the ball.
Here's 2nd and 10. Now the first carry here for the running back. And tough going there as he'll only get it up to about the 31. They do get a yard there, but only a yard. Leaves them with 3rd and 9 looming.
And the big fella stuffed that one up in a big way. I think doubling him has to be a priority because you can't move up to the next level if you don't take care of him first.
Working out of the gun, Williams. Williams loses the football. But it looks like one of the DBs has it. And his guys will set up shop at midfield at the 50-yard line.
You can admire his willingness to sacrifice his body to try and pick up the 1st down, and I do. But let's face it, you know his coaches are going to warn him about diving or extending for a marker for this exact reason. So much easier to have the ball knocked free when you're extended like that. So if you're going to dive, you got to make sure.
And this is caught inside the 5. Touchdown, Cowboys. A big play there with his first career NFL touchdown. And the Cowboys are closing in on a winning start to the year as they extend their 4th quarter lead. Now the extra point up and good by Aubrey. And that'll make this a 3-score game now. The lead moves to 17. So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. And not willing to risk a return. This ball's going to come out to the 30-yard line. The Bears offense ready to go for their next drive. And they knew coming in that this would be a tough place to go in and win a season opener. But this has just been a performance, to be frank, not to be proud of here as they trail big in this 4th quarter. It's a loss of 4 on the 1st down play.
There's no question that coming into this game, this defense was pretty vocal about its desire to take this running back out of his game. And all that pregame wolfing has turned into results.
Oh, the ball comes out on the hit, but they'll say it's incomplete.
Tell you what, partner, after he ices down, he's going to need a nice long soak in a hot tub after this one. He's been under duress the entire game.
Yeah, once again, hit as he throws. Fortunate that one wound up incomplete. The Bears on third down. They're at 50%, 4 for 8. This is 3rd and 14. To throw, Williams. Keeps him. Williams loses the football. But fortunately, he's able to recover his own fumble, or that could have been trouble. Offensively lucky there, able to keep the football, but now 4th down, so they'll have to boot it away.
I do think, though, they're going to look at this as a positive. 1, they recovered the fumble, so they retained possession. But 2, being able to punt it changes field position for them. Imagine if that turnover takes place there. Now your defense has to go onto the field and try and hold. Instead, they get a little breathing room.
He's going to go for a big play downfield. And now another turnover as this one's intercepted. Picked off by Marquise Bell. Now he's loose at the 40. Well, I guess an interception at this point on 4th down is just as bad as an incomplete pass. Either way, the ball goes over to the other side.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in this late in the game, and there's not a whole lot he could do there. And he winds up giving the ball away.
He finds his man complete. It's Ferguson. And he's brought down, but not before a gain of 13, down to the 13. 1st and 10 in the red zone. From the 13 now, they work on 1st and 10. They'll run straight ahead with Brooks. And he'll take it into the end zone for a Cowboy touchdown. Jonathan Brooks, a 13-yard touchdown run. And the Cowboys are looking good here in the season opener as they're able to extend their lead. Aubrey good with a PAT, and the lead is now 24. So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. And no chance to see a return on the dynamic kickoff. They'll move this out to the 30-yard line. At the line, prepping for their next drive, the Bears offense. Well, this game, it has had no shortage of offense. They've been able to put up a decent amount of points on this side, Charles. They just have not been able to keep pace with the other offense they're going against here.
Yeah, that's a good way of pointing things out because now it's not a total loss because, as you said, they've scored some points, so there's some plays they can build on, moments where the game plan actually worked. But overall, though, they were just out personnel. They were going up against a team that's playing at an elite level.
And he drops it incomplete, and their struggles continue here.
That incompletion is not a surprise with the way that this one has gone, and the frustration, the body language is evident everywhere. This team, they've really been put through the ringer in this one.
Now they face a 3rd and 10 after back-to-back incompletions. Looking to throw is Williams. And got his man complete. And he takes this one down almost all the way to the 30. On 3rd and 10, they go flying past the marker and get nearly 40 yards. Defensively, I know they have the comfortable lead here in the 4th, but they do not want to give up big plays like that.
They want to finish strong. So oftentimes in this situation, you tighten up underneath in your coverage, and you bring your safeties back. They can pick up anything that leaks through. But in the meantime, upfield, you're making plays on the football.
A good pickup there, 21 yards. A 3-score game here late. You can probably rule out the comeback, but certainly some kind of a moral victory to be had if they can get a few more points to close things out. And to that end, a nice pass play there to push things downfield.
Yeah, and we know in this league...
Got his man, and it's caught for a Chicago touchdown. A great play there. Already his 2nd touchdown here in this opening weekend. And the Bears are able to make some inroads here to that deficit. Williams going to throw for it. He's got it. So they convert the 2. That keeps their slim hopes alive as we're back to a 2-score game. 2 scores down, 3 timeouts left. Still a chance if they can somehow get this one back. And the Cowboys are able to recover. The risk-reward of the onside kick, when you don't get it, the risk comes out to play, and here they gave up great field position.
And that's the key to everything because
you're trying your best to press advantages when you have them, and field position leads you to that type of play calling, in whether you want to blitz or whether you want to throw the ball deep, those types of things. Now that they've given up that type of field position, the advantage is switched to their opponent.
91 yards rushing for him now here in week one. A very solid start to this new campaign. 2nd and 2. Down the left sideline. And he is into the end zone for a Cowboy touchdown. CeeDee Lamb with now 3 week one touchdowns. And the Cowboys tack on another score as they have dominated this fourth quarter. Now the extra point up and good by Aubrey. And that pushes the lead up to 23. So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. And it's a pretty good return here as he'll get this up to the 29. The Bears offense ready to go for their next drive. This drive here beginning probably with a pair of motivated groups. Remember, the offense scored a touchdown on their last time out. Looking to repeat that in Charles' defense. They were very frustrated after giving up 6 the last time on the field.
And frankly, it's just a battle of wills in a lot of ways because you know they're both motivated. They both game plan for this drive, and they both have specific outcomes in mind. To me, it just comes down to who can execute better and which side can step up and assert its will over the other.
And past the 40 before he's out of bounds. He's been big. 2 touchdowns earlier. Now he's got a first down here. Here's Williams. Coleman has it here right side. That'll go for a gain of 7, and that's going to bring up 2nd down. You got the big lead defensively. Willing to give them that underneath stuff, right?
And this is why you work on your tackling. Tackle them after the catch, inbounds, keep the clock running. Just go ahead and bleed the game out that way.
Just 2 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter of what has been a one-sided affair. So the Bears with the football here as we welcome you back. They're looking at 2nd down now as they search for a consolation score. Now 2nd and 3. Back to throw again. And he's going to be intercepted for the 3rd time thus far. And the Cowboys are in great shape here as they take over at their 46-yard line. Well, it wasn't always pretty, but the interception there, that means that they should get out of here with a victory.
Yeah, this is not a game that they're going to preserve for posterity on defense, but they did finish it off, didn't they? They did make the winning play to close things out. They'll take that one and head to the locker room.
Now it looks like he'll throw here. Oh, he tries to force it in, and it's intercepted. Kyler Gordon picks it off. The rookie was trying to push it downfield, but the safety bit him.
And he'll learn that you have to hold the safety. And you do that with your head movement, your eyes, sometimes your shoulders. Hold the safety so that you can get back to the throw that you really want to make. He got so excited thinking his guy was open that he made it easy for the defensive back to go get the football.
Oh, Odunze wide open. It's complete. And they are able to stop him, but he does take it all the way to the 2. Back to throw. Williams. And he takes a shot on the release as this will be incomplete.
We've seen this quite a few times in this game. Offensive line unable to keep leverage, unable to keep people away, facing a lot of pressure. Fortunate just to get rid of it.
One of the reasons they're down is that inability, though, to stop the pressure. We saw another example of it there. And the reinforcements come in as they're going to stop him behind the line. The 2nd down play results in a loss of 2 yards.
I thought they were onto something with their play call and kind of went in reverse a little bit. Threw it on 1st down. Then ran it on 2nd down. Not successful either.
And his pass is intercepted for the 4th time today. Picked off by Channing Tindall. And he takes this one back into the end zone. And the Cowboy defense has a touchdown. Aubrey now for the point after. is now an even 30. So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. And no run back here. That's going to be a touchback, and we'll bring it out to the 30-yard line. At the line, prepping for their next drive, the Bears offense. What do you do here down like this in this situation? Do you maybe just pick something out of the playbook you haven't called in a while, or you call it a day?
You can do that, or you pick something that's a staple for you and should work better and try and execute that on the way out the door and maybe get back to base and feel a little bit better as you end a ball game that's been a frustrating one for you.
And we'll see if they go back to base. Johnson's got it complete. They do get a yard there, but only a yard. Leaves them with 3rd and 9 looming. Well, CD, always a little extra excitement for Week 1, and one of our early window games here in Week 1 on a Sunday comes to a close. Good to be back in the booth with you, my friend.
And it's good to be back in the booth with you as well. And we know that not everyone's going to start the season 1-0, right? Half the league is going to have a loss on their record. But everyone's going to have to build off of that opener. And how many coaches tell us every single year, you make your most progress between Week 1 and Week 2. We'll see how both of these teams progress the rest of this season.
So for the Cowboys, it's a fantastic start as they roll to a blowout victory here in the season opener.